They say betrayal hurts the most when it comes from the one you love. On the night before our wedding, my fiancée secretly canceled my flight. Not because of a family emergency or some noble reason, she gave my ticket to her assistant. While she and her golden boy flew first class, I was forced to take a 72-hour train ride like I was some kind of unwanted baggage. That was the moment something inside me broke. If the woman I had devoted 7 years of my life to could treat me like this, then maybe my biggest mistake wasn't loving her. It was not marrying the girl who truly loved me all along. So, I picked up my phone, called my childhood friend, and said words that changed everything. Victoria, remember when you told me that if I ever regretted marrying Penelope, you'd marry me in a heartbeat? Well, ... how about we get that marriage license right now? Penelope and I had been together for 7 years. We planned a destination wedding, hoping to turn it into a honeymoon trip. I spent 6 months arranging everything: hotels, flights, restaurants, sightseeing. Penelope barely lifted a finger. From start to finish, I handled every single detail. It was exhausting, but I told myself it was worth it as long as we were happy. Tickets were hard to get, so I booked them early. Penelope insisted she deserved first-class seats because she was a company president. So I upgraded our tickets with my own money, thinking it would make her smile. The day before our flight, she looked at me with that practiced smile of hers. "Ethan heard about our destination wedding," she said. "Since I'll be gone for a month, he wants to come along to handle work if anything comes up." I blinked. "Our flight's full?" "You can take the train," she said casually. "I already bought the ticket for you." She sent the e-ticket straight to my phone. I stared at her in disbelief. "You're bringing your assistant to our wedding?" "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Ethan's practically family. We'll be gone a long time, and I need him by my side. It'll just be more convenient. Convenient for her, not for me. In that case, I'll bring my secretary too," I snapped. "I'm not the only one with a job." Her expression hardened. "Your secretary's an outsider." "Ethan isn't. He's like my brother." "Who brings an outsider to a wedding trip?" I felt the blood rush to my head. "I booked those plane tickets months ago. If Ethan has to go, he should take the train, not me." Penelope waved her hand like it was nothing. "Ethan's too young. I can't trust him to travel alone." There were no seats left, so I had to cancel your ticket. I checked my phone. A 72-hour train ride in coach class while she and Ethan would fly first class, sipping champagne. She even had the nerve to say, "Didn't you once tell me you loved watching the scenery go by? Now you can enjoy it for 3 days straight." Her parents were sitting right there. I turned to her father, Arthur, but he quickly looked away. Her mother, Eleanor, tried to smooth things over. "Michael, Ethan's been with Penelope since he graduated. He's a good boy, timid, dependable. Of course, she needs him by her side. Just bear with it this once." "Bear with it," I muttered. Then her brother Harold grinned. "Yeah, Michael. Ethan's not healthy enough for a long train ride. You're strong-built like an ox. You'll be fine." I almost laughed at how absurd it was. "Excuse me?" I said coldly. "But who exactly is marrying Penelope here, me or Ethan?" They ignored me. Eleanor even took Ethan's hand and said, "In my heart, you're already part of the family. You're the ideal son-in-law. No one can compare." The words stabbed like a knife. 7 years together, and I was still an outsider. Ethan was just her assistant, her employee, but you'd never guess it by the way they praised him. They forgot who paid their bills. When Penelope was broke in college, my father's money kept her afloat. When she wanted to start her company, my $1 million investment made it possible. I paid her parents' medical bills, covered their retirement, even helped her useless brother. For 7 years, I was their provider, their backbone, and now was worth less than a stranger. Ethan arrived just then, dragging for massive suitcases. Harold rushed to greet him like a long-lost brother. "If only you'd met my sister earlier," Harold said. "You'd be the one marrying her now." Eleanor clasped Ethan's hands. "You and Penelope make such a perfect pair. In my heart, you're already my son-in-law." I clenched my fists until my knuckles turned white. That was the moment my heart froze toward this family. Ethan gave me a look that was half guilty, half smug. "Sorry, Michael," he said with fake humility. "If it weren't for me tagging along, you wouldn't have to take the train." I offered to travel by rail, but Miss Blackwood refused. She said she couldn't bear to let me go alone. I clenched my jaw so tight it hurt. Harold threw his arm around Ethan's shoulders. "My sister did the right thing. The train's full of shady people. You're too young and good-looking to travel alone. You'd be a target. But Michael here, he looks like a brute. Nobody would mess with him." They laughed right in front of me. Penelope noticed my expression and tried to placate me. "Don't be upset. I know it's unfair, but there was no other way. Remember that watch you liked? The one you said was too expensive? Consider this my support. Go buy it for yourself. $10,000. I actually laughed. "So now I need your permission to spend my own money?" Her eyes narrowed. "Do you know how disrespectful you sound? I'm the president of a company." I almost spat. Her company had been bleeding money for years and only survived because I funded it. She hadn't paid a single cent for this wedding. I paid the dowry, the luxury apartment, the car, everything. The only reason she could still parade around as President Blackwood was because of me. Yet somehow, they treated me like nothing. "Michael," Eleanor suddenly said sharply, "go make dinner. It's late and everyone's hungry." I raised an eyebrow. "Ethan's never eaten with us before, right?" "Well, today he gets to taste his mother-in-law's cooking." I smiled coldly. "Mom, didn't you just say Ethan's like your son-in-law too? Then why don't you cook for him? That'd be the proper welcome." I turned and walked toward the bedroom. "Call me when dinner's ready." Penelope followed, hissing. "Don't be ridiculous. My mother's not in good health. You should cook." "Oh, I thought she was perfectly fine," I said loudly. "Mom, is your illness back? Should we go to the hospital?" Eleanor's face darkened. "I'm not sick. Don't jinx me." "Fine, I'll cook." She stormed into the kitchen. 2 hours later, after endless clattering, she served the meal. Harold pulled Ethan into my usual seat at the table. "Ethan's our guest. You don't mind him sitting here, do you?" Eleanor added sweetly, "If you don't want to sit on the side, Michael, you can eat in the kitchen and clean up afterward." I smiled thinly. "You know what? A friend invited me to dinner." "You all enjoy?" Penelope scowled. "We're leaving tomorrow. Why go out now instead of packing? You've got hands? You can pack for yourself," I said, walking out. As I stepped outside, I heard Ethan's voice behind me, soft, smug. "Don't worry, Miss Blackwood. I've already packed everything you'll need, even your underwear." I laughed bitterly. Her assistant was more attentive than her fiancé that night. I went to a high-end restaurant, ordered red wine, foie gras, lobster, the works. I might not have love, but I still had money. After dinner, I went to a private club, hired beautiful women to sing with me, and didn't go home until dawn. When I finally returned, the house was dark and silent. No one checked on me. The house was quiet. They were all asleep. I stumbled into the bedroom, sat on the bed, and a piercing scream cut through the silence. I switched on the light. Ethan was in my bed, curled against Penelope, clutching his arm. Blood rushed to my head. I grabbed him by the hair, hauled him up, and slapped him twice. He broke down crying. Penelope jumped to shield him, glaring at me. "Why did you hit him?" "We were just working late and accidentally fell asleep," she said. "Accidentally?" I roared. "You accidentally fell asleep in my bed," wrapped around my assistant. "Couldn't you have worked in the living room or waited until morning?" She actually shrugged. "We didn't want to disturb my parents. Besides, when you're half asleep, it's easy to mistake Ethan for you." "Really? Then why didn't I get one call or text all night? Were you too busy enjoying your little assistant?" Penelope snapped that I was being unreasonable. I turned to Ethan. "Get out of my bed. Or do you expect the three of us to sleep together?" He scrambled away, sobbing. Penelope fussed over his face like he was the injured party. Whispering about hospitals, I locked the bedroom door, stripped the sheets, tossed the duvet, and changed everything. The thought of them in my bed made me sick. I put in earplugs and finally slept. Morning came, and Penelope burst in. "Michael Clark, were you dead in there?" I knocked all night. "You ignored me on purpose." Her whole family hovered behind her. Arthur sneered. "You've been spoiled. Next time, just beat him into submission." Harold smirked. "With that temper, my sister might leave you." Ethan, ever the actor, put on a forgiving face. "Please don't fight. We're going on a trip together. I don't want anyone unhappy." Penelope sighed admiringly at Ethan. "See how generous he is?" she said. "Michael, you're being small-minded." I laughed. "Generous?" He was bathing in attention. She shoved 6 massive suitcases at me. "I won't hold last night against you, but hurry, or we'll miss our flight. Take these. Checking luggage is a hassle easier for you on the train." I looked at that mountain of luggage, 6 hulking suitcases, each at least 70 pounds, and laughed. "Sure, don't let me delay your first-class flight." After they left, I hauled those suitcases down one by one, put them in a car, and had them dumped at the city landfill. Then I canceled every hotel reservation and attraction ticket I'd booked. It felt like something had been lifted off my shoulders. I called a number I hadn't dialed in years. "Victoria, didn't you say if I ever regretted marrying Penelope, you'd marry me in a heartbeat? How about City Hall right now?" There was a pause, then her excited voice. "Yes, meet me there." That afternoon we walked into City Hall. She looked at me. "Are you sure? Once you sign, there's no going back." I smiled. "I'm more afraid you'll back out." She grabbed my arm. "Then let's do it." Minutes later, I walked out with a marriage license and a new wife. We decided, on impulse, to take the honeymoon that Penelope and I had planned. "Northern Europe?" I suggested. "Done." Victoria sedoned, chartered a private jet on the spot. The moment we landed, my phone buzzed. "Penelope." "Michael Clark, where are you? Why aren't you answering?" I replied casually, "Oh, forgot to tell you I'm in Northern Europe with my wife." "No signal on the plane?" she shrieked. "What? I'm your wife." I laughed. "Thanks to you, I'm now the son-in-law of the Sterling family." Silence, then shrill panic. "What Sterling family? Where are our hotel bookings?" I said I'd canceled them weeks ago. "You did what? Where are Ethan and I supposed to stay?" "Book us a 5-star presidential suite now." "Transfer me $20,000. Take Ethan out." I hung up and blocked her. Soon after, Ethan posted a photo of himself wearing a $20,000 designer watch. Caption: "It feels so good to be cherished. Love you forever, Miss Blackwood." Apparently Penelope had maxed out her card to buy it, confident I'd cover it. She was in for a rude awakening. 2 days later, she called again. All false sweetness. "Your train should have arrived, right? I'll pick Ethan up." I even bought him croissants. A $5 croissant for me, a $20,000 watch for him. "Don't measure love with money," I sneered. She insisted. "Ethan earned it." "How much revenue has he generated for your company?" I asked. She kept screaming for money and hotel bookings. I told her calmly I was having a great time in Northern Europe with my wife, and hung up, then blocked the entire Aspile Blackwood clan. Victoria and I spent a month in Northern Europe. Everything that could happen between us did. I learned what an incredible woman she was. I'd wasted 7 years on Penelope when a real treasure had been beside me all along. When I finally unblocked Penelope, her call came through instantly. "Michael Clark, where have you been? Do you know what you've done? Those suitcases, my laptop, designer clothes, tens of thousands of dollars, pay me back." I chuckled. "Those giant suitcases? You left them with me, so I assumed you didn't want them. I sent them to the dump." Her voice trembled with rage. "You threw them away. You'll compensate me?" I said, "Then sue me," and hung up. "Come home," I told Victoria. "Bring your bodyguards. They won't leave without a fight." Her eyes hardened. "They dared bully my husband. We'll teach them a lesson." We flew back with bodyguards in tow. The moment I stepped in the door, the Blackwoods swarmed. Eleanor shrieked, So you finally show your face? Harold shouted. You've gone too far this time. My sister won't marry you. Arthur thundered about teaching me a lesson. Before anyone could move, a dozen men in black filled the house. The family froze. Ethan peered out from behind Penelope. Miss Blackwood, did Michael hire the mob? I stepped forward. This is Victoria Sterling, heir of the Sterling Corporation. Show some respect. Penelope's eyes widened. She recognized Victoria from countless magazine covers. Miss Sterling, what are you doing here? She stammered. Smiled coldly. I'm here to take back my husband's property. Penelope scoffed. Your husband? Michael is my fiancé. Victoria's voice was smooth. Wrong. He's my husband. We got married a month ago, the day you boarded your flight with Ethan. Penelope laughed nervously. Michael, stop this. Isn't funny. I laid 2 marriage certificates on the table. See for yourself. We're legally married. If you hadn't insisted on delaying the ceremony until after the trip, you might have trapped me. But thanks to your arrogance, I walked away clean. Pale-faced, Penelope's family gaped. Eleanor grabbed my arm. For the sake of all these years, just pay off Penelope's debts, and let's forget this. I barked. Why should I pay her debts? Even if I wanted to, my wife wouldn't allow it. Victoria's smile was ice. Of course not. My husband's money isn't for other women. Penelope clutched at me, begging. I pushed her away. I'm deadly serious. Pack your things and get out. I pay for this house. You have no right to stay. Arthur growled that they wouldn't move. Fine, I said. Then I'll help you. At my signal, the bodyguards moved through the house. Within minutes, every Blackwood belonging was on the street. Eleanor collapsed to the floor, crying loudly. Oh, what did we do to deserve a daughter-in-law like this? This must be heaven's punishment. One of the bodyguards stepped forward, towering over her. Say one more word against our mistress, and you'll regret it. Eleanor instantly went silent. Harold, though, wasn't done. Sis, forget Michael. You can be with Ethan now. We don't need him. Penelope shot him a sharp glare. Shut up. The truth was, without my money, her company wouldn't last a month. She couldn't even afford to pay Ethan's salary, but Harold was too naive to understand. We changed the locks and installed security cameras. If anyone tries to break in, I warned, I'll report you for trespassing. Penelope's eyes filled with tears. Michael, is this really how you see me? Yes, I said coldly. Your family are nothing but ungrateful parasites. I wasted 7 years on you. At least I got out before it was too late. From that day on, I cut off all contact. Without my financial support, Penelope's company went bankrupt within 2 months. Her family ended up crammed into a shabby 500-square-foot apartment, struggling to afford food. One evening, I was out having dinner with a friend when I overheard a loud argument from a nearby table. The voices were all too familiar. You can't take back something you gave as a gift, Penelope snapped. I'm broke. My credit card. Is overdue giving me the watch back? It's ridiculous, Ethan scoffed. I earned this. You said you loved me whether I was rich or poor. You said you'd support me like Michael once supported you. Now you want your gift back? Pathetic, Penelope's voice broke. Ethan, I lost everything for you, my family. My companion. Now you're treating me like this. That was your choice, he sneered. If I'd known you were such a gold digger, I'd never have gone near you. I'm done. After this meal, don't contact me again. Penelope jumped to her feet, her face red with anger. You trying to dump me? No way. Ethan threw a glass of water in her face. Wake up, Miss Blackwood. You're nothing now. I just got hired by a major company. We're not in the same league anymore. He stood up and walked out, leaving her drenched and humiliated. Then she turned and saw me. Her eyes widened and she stumbled toward me. Michael, my friend immediately stepped in front of me. Stay back, or I'll call the police. Penelope raised her hands. Please, I just want to talk. I nodded for my friend to let her through. She approached slowly, her voice trembling. Michael, I'm so sorry, she whispered. I finally realized you were the only one who ever treated me right. I was blind chasing Ethan and I hurt you. I regret it more than anything. Please give me one more chance. I shook my head. No chance. She looked down, tears falling. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I still remember how you helped me when I had nothing, how you supported me after graduation. No one has ever been as good to me as you. My parents talk about you every day, begging me to win you back. Harold cries, saying, "You'll always be his brother-in-law." Enough, I cut her off. They never respected me, they only respected my money. Now that you've lost it, they regret everything. But that regret has nothing to do with me. I stood up and walked out, leaving her sobbing in the middle of the restaurant. I thought that would be the last time I ever saw her, but fate had other plans. A few days later, Ethan showed up at my company. "Michael, what a coincidence seeing you here." My blood boiled. "What are you doing here?" He smirked. "I was recruited as Mr. Davis's assistant." I called Davis into my office. "Is this the assistant you hired?" "Yes, Mr. Clark." "Then you have two options," I said coldly. "Either you fire him more, you're both fired." Davis paled. "I'll fire him immediately." He turned to Ethan. "You're done here." Ethan glared at me. "You think you can do whatever you want just because you married Miss Sterling? I'll report you." "You report me to whoever you want," I said. "Now get out." He refused to move, so I pulled out my phone. "Penelope, come get your little assistant." He's loitering in my office. Within minutes, she arrived, grabbing Ethan by the arm. "There you are. You've been avoiding me." From my window, I watched as they argued in the street below. Then it happened. Penelope slapped him. In a burst of rage, Ethan shoved her back. She pushed him again straight into the path of an oncoming truck. The screech of brakes, a sickening thud, and then blood everywhere. Ethan was gone. Penelope froze, then collapsed, screaming. Moments later, she turned herself in to the police. The court sentenced her to life in prison. That was the last I ever saw of the Blackwood family. They disappeared from my life, leaving behind nothing but bitter memories. I walked out of that courtroom hand in hand with Victoria Sterling, finally free. Free from 7 wasted years. Free from betrayal. Free to start over with a woman who truly loved me. From then on, there were no more calls, no messages, no demands for money. My life finally became quiet. Victoria and I found our rhythm together. She was everything Penelope had never been: warm, loyal, and kind. She didn't care about my money. She cared about me. And that made all the difference. One evening, we sat on the balcony of our penthouse, watching the city lights shimmer below. She slipped her hand into mine. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked softly. Walking away from Penelope, I thought about those 7 wasted years, all the sacrifices, the pain, the humiliation. Then I looked at Victoria's face glowing in the golden light of sunset. "No," I said firmly. "Not for a second. If anything, I regret not choosing you sooner." She smiled and rested her head on my shoulder. "Good, because I'm never letting you go." I kissed her hair, breathing in her scent. For the first time in my life, I felt peace. Meanwhile, news trickled in about the Blackwoods. Arthur and Eleanor, stripped of their wealth, worked odd jobs just to survive. Harold, once arrogant, now delivered food on a scooter. Penelope sat alone in a prison cell, her reputation ruined, her empire gone. The same family that once called me unworthy now lived in misery, forgotten by the world. It was poetic justice. And though a part of me felt pity, the larger part felt relief. They could never hurt me again. One day, Victoria surprised me with a trip to the Caribbean this time. White sand, turquoise waters, endless skies. As we walked along the shore, hand in hand, she turned to me. "Michael Clark, you've been through hell and back, but now you're mine, and I'll never betray you." Her words hit deep. I thought of Penelope's empty promises and realized trust was the rarest thing of all. Victoria had given me hers freely, and I'd protect it with my life. Months later, we held our wedding ceremony. It wasn't flashy or extravagant, just real. Friends and family gathered not for status, but for love. When Victoria walked down the aisle, radiant in white, my chest ached with joy. This time, I knew I was marrying the right woman. As we exchanged vows, the weight of the past finally lifted. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the wasted years all gone. What remained was a future I could believe in. At the reception, Victoria raised her glass. 2 second chances, she said softly. To finding love where we least expect it. I clinked my glass against hers. And to never letting go again. As laughter and music filled the room. I thought about everything that had led me here. From betrayal to redemption, life had tested me, but in the end, it gave me something greater than I'd ever dreamed. Victoria Sterling was my wife, and, for the first time in my life, I truly felt like the luckiest man alive.